skin, and it tastes like Jack when I'm kissing him. So I told him that I never really liked his friends. Now he's gone and he's calling me a bitch again. It's a guy that lives in a garden state, and he told me that we make it till we graduate. So I told him that
Welcome home, all. It is Friday. That means cheap date night. Tag that track Friday, all the above. Check all the boxes. Don't go for E. Just do your best. Draw a little configuration on your test and see what you can come up with. You may end up having to get a good score. Unless you hand over that score to somebody that's going to correct it after the fact because your mom paid $500,000 to get you to get you into the school, right?
Ouch.
That's dirty.
Ouch, that's dirty.
You could do that. So check this out. So all seriousness, tonight, it's Friday, and we're going to get into, our ongoing series on education and what I have termed, what we are talking about, the dream high school, utopian high school. If we had the ability to just check all the boxes and pull all the right levers, then this is what we would come up with. This is what it would be across the country. Give or take, obviously, one size doesn't always fit all, but we're talking about some minimum standard, some minimum base that everybody gets no matter what. And then after that, you want to raise more money, you want to put more time and effort. Hey, that's the American way. By all means, please do. That's a good thing. So that's the usual. That's Friday night. However, we did, I really was pleased with what we did on the Wednesday night. And I got some really good positive comments and return feedback in messaging about, what we talked about on the Wednesday, which is Saudi Arabia, this country that we are in bed with in many ways. And that, on a simple note, 15 of the 19 9/11 attackers were Saudi Arabian nationals. And so you go from that time to now, and you kind of like, whoa, scratch your head a little bit and like, how did we get from there to here? Now, again, you can't always hold the individual people responsible for what the government in that group or state does. But you got to wonder, and you got to question, and I think that's fair, for anything that we do here on SuperMex Nation, because I actively want you, and definitely want you, questioning everything, within reason, of course. I mean, use good judgment as an adult, but you should question. There's nothing wrong with questioning and not taking everything at face value, including in today's current climate politically. So, just a side note here before we get started on that, there was I did have a comment that I wanted to read from SuperMex Nation member, and I really, it kind of struck me and hit me heavy. I'm pulling it up now, and I want you guys to to dialogue and comment in the section that we have, SuperMex Nation, the group. It's basically a forum for you guys to speak freely and talk to each other. The operative word here is, civility and courtesy, self-respect. If not for others, then definitely for your fellows. I say fellow Americans and fellow SuperMex Nation members. We want that to take place. But this one struck me because it had varying meanings. It had multiple meanings. And it could be applicable for whoever you are. And even though from one perspective might be for this person, this group, this subgroup, this part of America, it can totally be the other for an opposing view. And those are quite literally the comments and the statements that I want coming out in our group, because they cut across all lines, geographic, ethnic, political, societal, religious, doesn't matter. But they're applicable and they're common. And we quite literally need a hell of a lot more of that right now. We need some commonality as opposed to, the dysfunction that ends up being us in multiple ways different from each other. So here's the comment. The gentleman's name is Mike Scheimer. I do not know Mike yet. I'm getting to know Mike. And Mike, if you're listening tonight, I'm glad that you posted and you commented. We want that interaction here, and I don't want anybody feeling an inability to speak freely in this particular forum, because it's a safe zone here. We don't do the dirty, we don't do negative, we don't talk smack about each other, we don't belittle, bemoan and do all the rest that is not good. It quite literally is intellectual dialogue, and that is good. State your opinion, your view, and then let it run. So this is what Mike wrote. I hope you are right about and basically what I was saying was work together and like find some common ground. But living in California, Mike's a resident of Cal. Living in California, I don't see any Americans that want to put effort into anything. A blanket statement, Mike, but I understand where you're coming from. I won't say everybody, but I do get you. Some don't want to put the effort in because they're lazy. Absolutely. I think we know that. That's true. Others because they don't know the meaning of hard work. Also true. That is also true. And so now you're increasing a number, right, of people that just aren't going to do things like what we just talked about, call into question, open your mind up, and don't be led down the road like sheep. This is what I'm talking about. And the rest, meaning all others or other people, and the rest, I feel, like me, are tired of trying only to see efforts wasted. And I could tell you what, that cuts across all boundaries, as I stated earlier, geographic, ethnic, racial, religious, political. It really does. I mean, that last line in particular, Mike, I do feel that way. You're tired of trying to waste your efforts on things that you want to make better, and then you just watch as they either continue in the same weak fashion, not good fashion for this country, or they collapse entirely, and you're just sitting there wondering why you, for however many, in my case, many years, have continued to put time, energy, effort, and who you are out front to try to make things better when the response is not positive. Brother, I get you entirely. And I'll add, this bit to it, even if it wasn't your intent entirely, but I see that on left and right, and now I see it in the middle. I see it all over the place. The good thing, though, is that statement is a unification statement in the sense that it goes to our feeling and how we feel about things. We all kind of feel like that. It's just about haggling out the details of the reasons why we got to that point. So I'm going to read that one more time. And again, thank you, Mike. I'll periodically do that with members of SuperMex Nation or others if I feel it really speaks to me and it cuts across and it's not particularly partisan or specifically just your view and nobody else's, but it moves the needle and it moves people to get to common ground. It moves people to start working together. It moves people to start understanding the same things, because that's when you have a damn good country and that's when you have a damn good people. So one more time from Mike Scheimer. And this thread, by the way, is in SuperMex Nation. You can find it in there, this commentary, that the dialogue that Mike and I had back and forth. And it was pretty cool because it's good intellectual dialogue. Good intellectual, whetstone sharpening dialogue. I hope you are right, SuperMex, but living in California, I don't see any Americans that want to put effort into anything. Some because they are lazy, others because they don't know the meaning of hard work, and the rest, I feel like me, are tired of trying only to see the efforts wasted. Great comment, Mike Scheimer. Nothing but love for you. Keep tuning in. I may not give you or say everything that you want to hear, but I'll always be honest and straight with you. No disingenuousness here. We're just trying to keep it clean and fair. And ultimately, the one thing you can rely on me for, and for this program, this network, and the forum and everything else, every aspect of it in social media, is I do ultimately try to get us to a place where we have more people agreeing than we have disagreeing. So, leads me to my last comment before I move on into our meat of tonight's matter, ongoing discussion on education in my dream, Education Swambo Rambo dream utopian high school. I listened to a vet because, as you guys know, it's one of my components to a background. It's a big component. It still colors my life. It'll never change the way I think, the way I was indoctrinated. Yeah, you can say that I was brainwashed. I love my country. Sorry, got me. Guilty as charged. You don't have to play Shaggy on this one. It was me. It wasn't me. So we did the Wednesday, and I did not comment, or we didn't talk openly about the Mueller report. We've only treated it one time. That was a number of weeks ago when the Barr summary came out after Mueller had completed his report. And we had that little bit on air with Brother Miller and Brother Crow, and we were kind of all over the place. The three of us didn't agree entirely on everything. We kind of disagreed on some things. My ultimate going back was, if you're on the right, you don't want to hear any more about it. You want to bury it and be done with it, move on. If you're on the left, you don't want to be done with it. You don't want to bury it. You want to know if there's more, or is there more. And then I kind of sat in the middle and I don't care about either of those two. I think you guys all know where my issues were and where they remain. I wanted to know, out of this body of work, and I have begun to read it. I've not read it all. I'll be straight with you clean. I don't have that kind of time to just be able to do the document. And by the way, I don't want to read it straight, 448 pages, without some legitimate thought and note-taking on all of it. So I'm into the first component part, and that's the largest part, that has to do with what did or did not occur in terms of Russian interference in our election. So the one thing I can definitely say unequivocally after reading through what I've read through, again, just a part of it, not all of it, but there's absolutely no question whatsoever, and there is proof and evidence that Russian operatives, GRU, intelligence, etc., did, in fact, interfere. It wasn't an attempt. They succeeded, ladies and gentlemen. They succeeded. We don't know to what degree. I think that's maybe can flesh out, or they can get more. I know what some of you are going to think. I don't care one way or the other if it helped or did not help Donald Trump, or it made his election more or less. That's irrelevant. Let's stay and focus, as I told you before, remove the fog of war and focus on the primary issue. The fact is they did succeed in influencing. The rest of you guys on a Democratic and Republican continuum can argue to your heart's content about how much it helped, how much it hindered, or whatever the hell about the influence itself. My concern is it actually occurred. And if you're an American, that should bother you. This isn't partisan by any means at all. Okay, it has nothing to do with partisanship. I don't give a damn if you're a Democrat or Republican. I don't give a damn if you're green, libertarian, or anything else under the sun. The fact that this actually took place is a problem for us. It is a problem for our country. And yes, I am a Cold War vet. I served during that time when there still was a Russian threat. I've never not thought that they were a threat. They always have been. They had a metamorphosis. They changed. The Berlin Wall went down. The Soviet bloc crumbled. There is no more Warsaw Pact. Some of the stuff you guys don't even know what I'm talking about. But all that is gone, and it has morphed and become something else, headed by a little dude that is quite literally strategically brilliant. You can quote me on that. The guy really is masterful about what he is doing. And how do I know that? Because you and I are too busy arguing with each other as Republicans and Democrats. Well, he's sitting somewhere off on the other side of the planet laughing about the damage he's done to our democracy. And has nothing to do with whether we love President Trump or dislike President Trump at all. The fact that we're arguing about it is a win for him. You need to understand that. So here's what I've got. So I will read through. I will not have another Mueller update / report on my own with Brother Miller, Brother Crow, and maybe just a larger panel, just to kind of summarize and put down some fact, focus on fact, and remove the partisanship, remove the emotionalism, remove the hate and anger you feel one way or the other for your fellow American. I will do that. I will do that. We'll begin that sometime next week or into the following week, because I've got a heavy plate of other action and items that we've got to take care of. And I'm going to be honest with you, I really do want to take some time to studiously read through the document without anything influencing me personally, one way or the other. I want to make my own decision. And in a roundabout way, that's what I grew up believing from a grandfather that served in World War II. Mijo, sabes que you're going to grow up, I want you to be smart enough to be your own man, to be able to make your own decision based on information you bring for yourself, to yourself, without being led down the road like sheep. That's what I was taught when I was a little boy by an old World War II vet that served in the Pacific. And in another way, the other one, my mom's father, he was a little more hard-headed, not hard, but he served in the Pacific. And he believed, and I won't go too far, but he believed in absolutely taking no bullshit. He just said, see it clean, see it clear, call it what it is. Don't play the game. Those are my two grandfathers, both World War II vets. Their lives were for this country, and that is where mine remains. So here's what I've got for you as we finish up here and we move on to our item. I'll wait a bit. I'll read the full document. Nothing's going to change my mind on the fact that I do know for certainty now, after reading through a portion of it, that we were attacked in our electoral process and in cyber. That is a fact. So you're going to like this. Watch this. This is why you keep tuning in, because every once in a while, I'm kind of boring about some things because I like being a wonk on issue and policy. But every once in a while, I'll just say something that's going to totally blow your doors off. And you're going to sit there and have to think about it afterward like, wow. Where is the concern for my country? We're concerned about the left and the right. We're concerned about the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. We're concerned about a presidency and House Democrats. Where the hell is the damn concern for my country? Stop. The concern now should be for the country. However, that concern, and I took time to put my thought together on this. This is how I see it. If there is a concern or somebody that says they're concerned about their country, that person's concern is filtered through a prism based on personal individual loyalties and where they sit with their ideology. And it isn't always about country. Oh, I'm for my country, but only after I believe in my party first, believe in my region first, believe in my checkbook first. That's what people believe in concern for party, or excuse me, for their country. Think about that. That's very, very incisive, and it's very important that you analyze that statement and figure out for yourself how it affects you. You may be one of them. I'm actually asking you to take a look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself that question. When I say I'm for my country, do I really mean it? Or is it being clouded and filtered through other people's perceptions of what my country is? That's what I want you to do. I know it's asking a lot, but damn it, it's important. Last thing. We were attacked by Russians. I was like, I'm still getting over that. Actually, I'm not over it. I don't think I ever will be over it. This was my first thought. And you guys are going to chuckle about this, or maybe not. You know what my first thought was when the full gravity of the reading hit me? Is that we were attacked, and my first response is, we should attack them. Oh, now you're going to think like, oh, am I going to roll out my M1 Abrams and my Warthogs? I didn't say that. Why don't we attack their election process? Why don't we attack the things that they do and somehow Putin keeps getting elected over and over again? How is that? Why don't we fiddle with their elections? Why don't we do something about their elections? Because, ladies and gentlemen, I'm an old wrestler. And in my world, if you're constantly on defense, you will give up the takedown. If you're constantly being attacked and you're always on defense, you can never attack back, and you will get taken down. That's an old wrestler's mantra. I don't like being attacked. I like attacking. We were attacked by Russia. Let's attack them. We got bright people in this country. We have Silicon Valley. We have some of the most cutting edge technology and innovation when it comes to cyber in the world. And how in the hell are we getting done to? Seriously. Wake the hell up, America. Let's attack back. There's my thought for you tonight. You're going to wonder about that. Did he just say attack Russia? I did. Quote the Raven. No Edgar Allan Poe tonight, but you can quote that little raven. Attack them, because if you're constantly being attacked, ladies and gentlemen in the wrestling world, you will be taken down. You will give up the takedown. Here's my thought for tonight. Again, we won't touch that one for at least another week or two, but be mindful, ladies and gentlemen, and be civil with yourselves. Be mindful that you are Americans first. And it's not just about attacking each other. It's about actually trying to find the reasons why we are arguing with each other. This one's simple. We were done to an election. We should be considering how we stop this and how we can get others to leave our stuff alone, and maybe we fiddle with theirs. There's your thought for the night. Okay, so I'm hot and angry, Swainbo. You can tell. You know, I'm an old Cold War vet, man. It does bother the hell out of me.
It bothers me too.
And I know it's politics because that's part of what we do.
Yeah.
But I mean, for the last day and a half, I've just been in absolute amazement that we've been talking about all these other things, and we're not talking about how we are going to stop this from going on.
Right. I've felt that for years. When I remember when the rise of ISIS was first coming around, and I'm sitting there, I'm just going, why don't we just annihilate these people? You know,
why are we sitting here?
Why are we sitting here and allowing these innocent people to be butchered?
Yep.
Why aren't we doing anything? And you know, when you talk about attack with the Russians with cyber, that's been happening for.
I know.
It's been happening ever since cyber has been cyber. And you're right. Why do we sit back?
And we just kind of tacitly accept it.
Yeah.
I can't accept it.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah. See, I wouldn't be a good politician because
you'd want to do something.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I don't win. maybe that's why I don't win my race, because I will actually do something.
Yeah. I kind of go by the old mantra: you go strong, you don't go at all.
Exactly.
And you know what? Someone attacks you. You know what? It's on.
Yeah, and I'll say this, like, from a personal perspective, and we're not into our meat education tonight, but it's kind of like this. Again, I don't even feel like I don't mean to like attack or fight back based on a continuum of, oh, something was done to me and I'm going to go whoop you up. It bothers me when it's my people, it's this country, and there's no cheese ball about it. I believe that.
Yeah.
When we sit and watch.
Yeah, it continues to happen over and over and over.
And then you're
again.
right about the cyber aspect of it. You're right. You're absolutely right. We've been attacked for, I guess since the inception of cyber. You have hackers, you have other things. But my thing is that if you're not proactive and aggressive, then all you're doing is literally sitting there accepting of the behavior. And I cannot accept that behavior. Yeah. And so that's, you kind of, you know how I am about that and where I go with it. But I underline it all. Kind of about the nature of what we're doing tonight and what we've been doing the last few nights, on the Fridays, is you want to wake people up to the fact that these things are going on. Right. And instead of just crying and complaining about them, which is the nature of what we normally do, you and I on a Friday night, we're actually addressing the problems we see in education and giving our audience, fact-based, issue-oriented, solution-driven. We're actually providing solutions. Right. And I feel the same way about, this particular item. Right. I don't want to hear about crying and complaining about what did or did not happen. I want to see solution. Right. That's the old American way. Not just sitting back, do something about it. Yeah. And the point is, I don't want to have to wait at this point, because I've been waiting a long time for other things to get done by other people. And now I'm at a point in my life where I'm spending my money, my time, my air to address important issues because they're not getting resolved. Yeah. So let's segue from what we're talking about in the political macro arena for the United States, and then back to what we've been doing, addressing our issues in education, which, by the way, an extension end up being your issues, ladies and gentlemen. These are your issues. Agreed. Because if we're raising not well-educated and not really intellectually driven individuals in this country with the ability to read, write, arithmetic, and hold a job and add up a checkbook and participate in the national dialogue and participate as a citizen, then we're not doing our damn job, in which case somebody needs to do something about it. That's what we're here for. We're here to address it. So real quick wrap up. So the last couple of weeks we did talk about, and Swainbo and I talked about this on the phone today, we've talked about size of school, student population for a high school, ideal Goldilocks zone for the average public 9 through 12 education in a school setting. We talked about instructional minutes, and I cannot overemphasize the importance of instruction time, that you actually make use of all of your minutes.
It's sacred.
Yes, it should be just that. Yep. If those minutes are sacred, as an instructor, like day-to-day in the classroom, and as a admin, administration, or principal, or upper administration, if you make those minutes sacred and you get the full amount of minutes for every child in your system, then you're going to do a damn good job. Because the average teacher isn't there to not learn or teach. The average teacher can do a good job. You have some bad ones, yes, remove them by all means. We don't accept bad behavior. And there are better ones that we don't have to touch because they're self-motivated, they're going to work hard. But if we make those minutes sacred, and the teacher understands that, the administration on site understands that, principal, vice principal.
The whole school understands.
The whole system.
The janitors, the aides, the classified, the whole culture of the school is that those minutes are sacred.
So if we
can get that.
Right. If we get one, and I don't even know what, just some arbitrary number, say there's 1,000 minutes that you're allocated for this day or whatever week, okay? If you get to full 100% or 99% of that 1,000 minutes, you're going to do a good job. The kids are going to get educated properly. But we don't do that. I don't even know what the percentage is. It gets worse depending on the quality of the school district, depending on the quality of the site and the teacher. So we did a lot on instruction time, and I know I'm going hard at it because I know you agree with me that instructional minutes are critical. They're crucial. They're the single most important item that we have control over as instructors and as administrators to give the average child in America the quality of education that not only they deserve, but that we pay for, ladies and gentlemen, that we pay for. So done there. Those are the last couple weeks. And if you really want to go back, if you're an educator, by the way, high school or whatever, you would want to go back. I know some of this stuff can be boring because we're talking over the heads of some other people, but definitely go back because what Tim and I are doing, I don't see it being done anywhere else, at least not around here, and definitely not in the fashion that we're doing it. But it is an incisive look at education today, things that are good, things that are bad, things that need to be done. We're providing solution. And if you guys are so inclined, go back. So the last 3 weeks on a Friday, and so I'm doing a better job now, by the way, on the YouTube channel. I'm naming the show, and I'm dating the show, and I'm slowly going back and providing the topic into the description so that all of you guys can go back and pick out the ones you want. So, but for right now, generally, so for the last 2 weeks, this is the third week, Tim Swainbo, and I have been going over the Dream Utopian High School. And I think I have named those, by the way. So that's all available to you. You can do it in, I think, an hour, hour and a half, each of the episodes to now. And you're looking at 2-3 hours, ladies and gentlemen. Especially, how about this? If you're just a parent and you want to know what your child should be getting, that's scary, right?
Yeah.
That's scary. If you want to know what your child should be getting, go back, go to the YouTube channel or on my page. YouTube channel, it's archived real simple. And get the Fridays for the last 3 Fridays. And you can run these back to back to back and give yourself an insight as a parent or as an educator on the things that should be going on and how you can better them yourself, if not because of what we talk about. Right. So you brought up a good item today. Let's get down to that meat on the start time. Start time. So let's do that.
Yeah. So currently in the state of California, the assembly and going through the process of looking at start times. A couple years ago, this was an issue with politicians, and they brought this up. They cited a lot of research, and they said that it would make sense for our start times to be around 9 o'clock, because the research says that if the students or if the children get a full 8-9 hours of sleep, you know, they're productive, they're you know, ready to rock. And so that went through, and that passed basically the House and Senate, went through all of that, but Governor Brown nixed it.
Okay.
I know that.
How long ago was this then?
It was either a year.
Right before the election, this last election?
It was either a year or two ago.
Okay.
I know that this was a big issue with the union that I'm part of, CTA.
Hey.
You know, yeah. And
Cuda.
yeah, and they went through and they, you know, threw a lot of money at it because they were opposed to it. The whole idea was that the state shouldn't really be getting into start time of schools. It should be a district function.
So local
Control. We have local control over our funding. Why shouldn't we have local control over start times? We have local control over what curriculum we're going to use, as long as it's, you know, state adopted. So why are the politicians getting into this mix? So that's kind of a rub, you know, for me. You know, I was listening today, and
because cultures and economies throughout the state of California. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, California is a big critter, and if you drive from the north to the south, that's like an all-day affair. Yeah. My point being is that little towns, large towns are really, really different, and they operate on different biomechanical clocks too.
Yes.
So what's good for one region, and I'm going to say this again, ladies and gentlemen, we're not a small state. It's not like uniformly just this homogeneous group that all lives right here. Right. We have a very, very diverse, wide range of economies, wake-up times, activities. People living up in the mountains don't think the same way as people living on the surf.
Right.
You see what I mean? So, but that's critical, because I want to illustrate that California is a lot different than a lot of other states. We're not homogeneous that way. Right. We're really diverse. Yeah. So go ahead.
Yep. So now it's going through again, and it's looking like it's going to pass, and it's going to probably require Governor Newsom to either say yay or nay, and it's probably looking like he's going to say yes, he will.
Yes.
You know, so that's causing kind of a big stir right now.
Okay.
And so that's where I was talking to you today. I said, you know, we really should talk about that, because that's a big item.
So are we talking about, I'm going to give you a softball here for yourself anyway, if not for me, but do you want to talk about it, and are we bringing it up with the audience because we should have input or weigh in or sound off, talk to our reps?
Well, I think we should have input. We should have local control over that, and we should talk about that with our Utopian High School as to what would be an optimal start time and how could we run into a system like we've talked about, whether do we want to go 6 periods, 7 periods,
Correct.
And we need to start talking about when should we start school and how, if we're going to do an early start, if we're going to do a late start, how do we work that within our schedules, within our activities, the extracurricular, all the different things that our children do.
So let's get to that for us. For our fun part. But before we get to that, so that's coming. That's going to be voted on.
That's
your analysis or thought is that Newsom is going to vote for it.
That's my analysis.
And so what does that mean on the surface if he votes for tomorrow and it's a go?
Yep. Then it's looking like then there'll be some type of mandate to all the school districts. And I haven't seen the nuts and bolts, the particulars, but what they're saying is they're looking at 9 in the morning, 9:30 start times for schools. And when you look at, well, my school, we're at 8 o'clock. The high schools are 7:20 in the morning.
7:20.
Very early. Elementary schools range from 8 to 8:30, 8:45. So how is a district like ours or other districts out there in California, how are they going to kind of grapple with that and make it work? Because really start times should be based on, what works best within your community, and that every school should be looking at, okay, what's going to work for us, and not something a blanket, every school's going to start at 9 o'clock.
Correct.
Every school's going to 9:30.
Because I'll throw in a bit here. So like generally, my daughter's at 7:20.
Right.
And I do think it's too early. I'll just say that for me. It's too early.
Yeah, I agree.
For me, say Dream Utopian High School, we're looking at, 8:30, 8:30 to 9. I don't know, depending on the range, right? But if all conditions being optimal in that range, but I think, like in our particular case for you and I, our school district, it's more a question of transportation, because transportation's a mess. Not that the people in transportation are the mess, it's just the policy that they have to deal with and the hindrances they have because of the size of our system. They don't have the ability to, they have to have kids go at this time for elementary. They have to do a different time because we don't have the ability, from the district level to do optimal. But
I think that's statewide. There's so many districts that are dependent on transportation. They have X amount of buses, they have X amount of students, and they need to kind of work, the schematics.
I'll tell you what, because a lot of people think, throughout the country, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, in America, we have an American audience, and now we got international audience. But uniformly, America is not one big city school. We have a lot of open area, and we have a lot of country schools or schooling, and that's where transportation becomes an issue. A kid can't just walk to school or ride a quick city bus. We have, like in Central, we're big, size-wise, we're pretty large. And, it's also about, and I'll throw this little kernel in there, but it's also biomechanical, in terms of the body and what teenagers are dealing with in terms of their optimal conditions for learning. And, you would say that, okay, I want them to learn at their best, right? Kids got some porridge in the belly and got a good night's sleep, 7, 8, 9 hours, right? And they roll up, and we are, as teachers, you in particular, as a teacher, you want to know that your good work, your effort, your lesson plan is really going to get into the mind of that youngster, because the mind is ready and ready to take that information. If it's not ready, then it's like a wall, and that good information just bouncing off and out, and they don't learn. They don't learn as well. So it's biomechanical too in that sense, but that's coming. Newsom's going to vote on it, and then we'll deal with it. I am interested to see how we deal with that in our particular school district, because it's a transportation issue, I think, more than any other.
Roll it back a little bit. It starts at home. It's all
never disagree with you there.
It all starts at home, and as parents, and all three of mine have graduated, and they're off, doing their thing, and it was okay, lights out, let's go, and okay, it's time to get up, and it was a chore, but it's something that you have to do as a parent, and which I hate to say this, it doesn't happen a lot.
You know what? I had a funny thought. As you're saying that, you know what I'm thinking of? Because I've coached for a long time, right? I'm an old wrestling coach.
Yeah.
And I've coached, and you'd be amazed at how often, I've heard a dad and a mom, but I usually hear more dads because I dealt more with the fathers of wrestlers. Dads are really, really heavily involved with the wrestler. Yeah. Not saying mom isn't, but on the average, it's mostly dads.
Yeah.
Man, I can't tell you how many times, like, the dad and the parent they're meticulous and like ruthless and efficient about getting their son to practice and making sure they do this and making sure that. Make sure you don't eat this because they got to drop weight, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes to their sleep,
going to bed,
and other things, they're like oblivious and they don't pay as much attention. Now, I'm not going to say that's everybody.
No, but it happens.
It does. So, and it does definitely with athletes and other people. You put all this attention on the simplest of things, which is, I got to get my boy to practice and I got to bring him back and we got to. But they almost forget the things that are day to day right in front of them. Right. That lights out at X amount of time at X time, and make sure you got a good meal in the belly. Right. Sleep well. Get plenty of rest, because that's what a young body needs more than anything else. Right. We were religious about that aspect with my son wrestling, that we made sure that he ate well and he slept well. Yeah. We actually have a line in-house. Yeah. It's cheesy, corny, but it is a mantra in our house. Sleep is good. Yeah. That is literally what we say. Yeah. Sleep is good. Yeah. My wife gets on me sometimes because I let him sleep too much, or I'm chilling and I'm getting too much sleep. Yeah. Lazy, get up. Yeah. But your body does need that recuperation and rest.
Sure.
And so if you're grinding them, and my point is, and I'll use wrestling as an example because that's a lot of my wheelhouse, what I've seen. They'll go through multiple practices, get out of school. They're not even worried about their homework and the study time that they need. Oh, I'm going to take him here. Oh, he's going to go drill with so-and-so. And then by the time they're getting home, they're getting a fast food meal on the go, getting home, and the dad is done for the day, goes to sleep, does his thing. And the kid's just like wired up on I'm all jacked up Mountain Dew, and they're they're on
Shelton iced tea.
Yeah, you go. They better not be on that. Yeah. But they're fiddling around with their Instagram. They're doing these other things. They're making up for the time they lost in their practices. Yeah. Now we're talking about high school guys. Yeah. High school people, but they're trying to make up for that by now they're talking to their girlfriend or their homies.
Then it's 1, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Exactly.
And
it's 1 or 2 in the morning. They may not even gotten to the homework, or if they did, they didn't do their homework with what you and I know is an adequate and serious attention span on just that work. Because you and I both know homework isn't about doing the homework. It's about learning in the doing. That's kind of lost. Right. But again, that's a parenting thing. You brought this up, by the way. That's all your fault. Oh. It's a parenting thing. Yeah. It's a parenting thing, and it's a parent's obligation and responsibility. If you want to raise a good mind, notice I didn't say athlete, but you want to raise a good mind, then it's your obligation to not just get them those other things, but to make sure they've got a good meal in their belly, that they get plenty of sleep, they get to sleep on time, and that they have like some healthy, well-balanced approach to all these things in their life. And I'm going to say this to all you dads out there that I'm talking about, or that I'm talking to, and parents in general. Your son or daughter, they need interaction with friends. They need to eat healthy. They need to go work out and do things. They need to spend time on their studies and their work, right? That's good parenting. And they need to be able to get a damn good night's sleep every single night. And if you do that, I can tell you right now, and I know you'll be with me, that not only helps, but enhances and bolsters the learning. Right. You want your little kid, your boy, your daughter to be smart, do those things that we just, described. So we'll see what happens with, that. I think it will. I think he'll sign it. I'm almost positive he will. Yeah. Yeah. And then it goes to how we apply it, within our backyard. Yeah. Now let's get to our meat and potatoes of the dream high school. So I'm saying like 8:30 to 9 in terms of a start time. Okay. Are you there or no?
Yeah, I'm there, but with a few little caveats.
Okay. Give me a caveat. Yeah. What's a caveat? It's Latin for warning. There you go. You just learned something for the day, ladies and gentlemen. Caveat, C-A-V-E-A-T, it means warning. So give me your caveats.
All right. So I think that we really need to look at the flexibility of the schedule instead of just saying, okay, Our school starts at 8:30. Everybody comes in at 8:30.
Oh, you're cheating, man, because I was going to do that too anyway. All right, go ahead.
Yeah.
All right.
But, well, okay.
You got the ball, roll with it, roll with it.
Yeah, and so I think that what we need to do is we need to add some flexibility to our schedule.
Correct.
We need to have, in essence, a 0 period. We should have a 7th period. Let's say if we do 6 periods.
Okay, so explain the 0 period for those that are not.
So we would have a period. Let's
go with the 6. So
let's
we have
say
1 to 6.
Let's say school starts at 8:30. We would have a period that would start, let's say, at 7:15, and it would be before school.
I'd go later.
Okay.
You said 7:30. No, we start at 8:30.
Yeah. So you're saying 9.
Well, and I'm going to tell you why, because I'm still stuck on, maybe I'm wrong, but the old model of, roughly about an hour for a period.
I'm there.
7:15, 7:30. Okay, I can go.
Okay.
There.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it's a period before school starts where students can go to any class and they can do their math, they can do their
And it's
PE.
not, and let me make sure I'm clear, and it's not an obligatory period.
No.
Meaning you don't have to.
No.
But
It's
you're
an option.
offered.
It's
You're
offered.
offered.
It's
yeah,
an
yeah.
option.
It's
It's an
another.
option.
It's another something that you can take if you want to.
Yeah.
But if little Billy or Joe and Jane want to sleep in, they don't have to take that 0
They
period.
would start at.
They can get their sleep.
They would. Yeah. Exactly. Where I teach at the Independent Study, we start at 8:00 and we go to 4, and we have different.
You guys go to 4?
We go to 4.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. And so we have different appointment times. And so when the counselor meets with the child and the parent, okay, are you a morning or are you afternoon person? Well, I'm a morning person. Okay, we've got these times. 8, 9:45. Oh, I'm an afternoon. 12:30, 2 o'clock. So we kind of work it.
Right.
That's going to work best for the child, what's going to work best for the parent. And, I've got students, 8 o'clock, they are rocking. They are ready to go. And I've got other students, it's 12:30, and, they're good to go. And I have some students.
But it gets done.
It gets done, yeah. And so there's some type of flexibility. So with our program, let's say we start at 9 o'clock, I think that we need to have some flexibility before and say, okay, let's have a period that starts at 8 o'clock. And so if, let's say, the child's a morning person and they want to go, from 8 o'clock to, and they do they go from period 0 to periods 5, and they have 6 periods in there, and then they're done with school. Or we could say, okay, you could start at 9 o'clock and you can go, periods 1 through period 6.
Right.
Or let's say, you could even flex it even further. Let's say, you could go from periods 2 and add a period after the day, period 7. And the reason why I think that we should have that is because it will give some options within this late start time. It will allow students who, our high school's eight periods. Okay, and we're going down to either 6 or 7. It would give some students some, okay, let's say I have periods 1 to 6, but I want to take, this additional PE class because I want to, work out more, or I want to take, this math class because it's going to prepare me for, my other, whichever.
To get into this college, I need to have this.
Yeah, it gives so where the students just aren't set at 6 classes. That's their minimum, but they can go a 0 period.
Yeah.
They could go a 7th period. So there's some. I really think that we should build some flexibility in this.
Flexibility is the key word,
Yeah.
and so I'll jump in here a little bit. So flexibility is the key word. You and I kind of we again mysteriously think kind of along the same lines here, and I see that 0. Let's say we go with the 1 to 6, right? We have 6 periods,
Right.
And we'll flesh that out right now in a little bit. By the way, so we got 1 to 6 periods,
And an hour each.
If you have, give or take, right?
Yeah.
So you have a 0 period and you have a 7 period. Those become the electives in essence. Those are the electives. What you guys know,
Electives,
they're not core courses. Yes,
No,
electives, enrichment,
Yeah.
additional, something specific because you want to get into Yale and you want to get into the theater arts program. You need to take something else. Okay, so it gives that child the flexibility, the top end, and I think we talked about this today. The top end kid has the ability to go to this class or this school, this Dream Utopian High School, and get 6 really good courses that are the meat and potatoes
Right.
of a quality education.
Yes.
Boom, 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 throw chingazos.
Yes.
All right. Then you have those that additional at the back end, in the front,
Right.
the 0 and the 7 period, and they can take something that's more specific to a school, a college, or an apprenticeship program, or a machinist guild. I can go on and on.
Yeah.
But you can take the specific things in those additional periods earlier in the morning or later in the afternoon that will help you get into that school, that program, that whatever. Now you have the ability to choose and build, in essence, your own program, but based on and not sacrificing. And this is what we talked about, not sacrificing the quality,
Right.
minimum standard of education
Right.
that every kid gets. Every kid. And here's the back end
They
to
can
this.
build upon that.
Exactly,
Yep.
exactly. So here's the back end, and I know you'll like this too. Because I think about not just, my son or daughter, your son or daughter, or kids that are going to have parent support, they're going to do well, maybe they're bright, they're going to go to Yale or Harvard, right? Got that. Those kids are probably going to do well anyway.
Right.
There's a reason why they're there, okay? The other end is the majority of America, which I do think that some of my audience understands. That's what we're losing. We're losing the majority in terms of the quality of education they get, functioning, strong civilians in our country, right? We go to them and we give them that minimum base standard. They're going to get that 6. Say a kid's behind, because I don't want to deny any kid, because there are different levels, right?
Right.
You got some kid that scores off the charts and everything, and he wants to come to Dream Utopian High School, led by Swainbo and SuperMex, right?
Right.
There's another kid that he doesn't have off the charts test scores. He doesn't have the parent support. He doesn't have all this stuff. Maybe he's me. He doesn't have a dad. He lives in a trailer. He struggles to survive. I don't know where my meal's coming from. That was me.
Yeah.
Da-na-na-na. That was me. Da-na-na-na. Maybe that kid wants to get to that high school too.
Yeah.
And this is so totally equal and so even-handed and fair, and it's equity in a way that we don't do anymore in a lot of ways, right? But that kid gets the same shake
Yep.
as the other kid, because he can go to that same high school. He or she could go to the same high school. And maybe he's not as far along mathematically as the other kid.
Right.
But you know what he does? He takes the 0 period, and I take Mr. Swain for some more math.
Exactly.
And maybe you catch me up.
Yep.
Maybe because I'm doubling up and going and working hard. Sound good, America? Hard work? Oh, yeah. What's that?
Yep.
Okay, so he's working hard, and he's catching up.
Yep,
And I'm
perfect.
saying that because in a roundabout way, I kind of used to do that with my students. I would take a kid aside, or in wrestling, I would. I love telling kids this. I can see that kid. He's better than you, right? Yeah. I said, you know why? Because he's been doing it longer. His mom and dad have taken to a million practices. He's been wrestling since 3rd grade. You started last year. He's got 10 years on you. I said, so how are you going to beat him? Kid looks at me with a blank stare. I don't know. You're going to outwork him. You got to do everything he does, and you got to do more.
Right.
And so that's where a 0 period and a 7 period come in. It gives, now that kid's going to sacrifice. Maybe he doesn't get the bells and whistles, the cool leadership class like you like to teach.
Oh, yeah. You had to get me on that, didn't you? Wow.
Swainbo's good at having
Wow.
classes make balloons and banners.
Yeah. Don't believe a
I
word
got you.
he
Like,
just said.
every leadership class, every leadership instructor in the world is going to not like me. Oh well.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But now you give that kid the opportunity to catch up
Yep.
through hard work and discipline, and there's no excuse anymore.
No.
That's what I believe the catch-all is. You have this at this end, you have this at that end, and the minimum standard, the base of America, the average kid is stronger, better, smarter. That's how you make this country better.
And when that child who's behind sees that the system is put in place to help him achieve proficiency, and that he's got teachers there that believe in him and are going to work hard so that he can succeed, that child's going to go, yeah, I'm going to a 0 period. I'm going to go and I'm going to do 7 classes, and I'm going to go from 0, to 6 period, or I'm going to do a class after and do 1 to 7.
Or maybe he doesn't go to 7 and he maybe gets a job at home or somewhere else.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of this that we've lost in America
yeah.
because we're in our rush as a society to make everything better. We've literally thrown the baby out with the bathwater.
Give those kids an opportunity and believe in those kids, and they will step up. I see that every day at the place.
It's
that
about
I'm at.
expectation too, because I
Exactly.
know you're like this.
Yeah.
You actually have an expectation, even if they don't have an expectation for themselves.
Oh, yeah.
And that is powerful in terms of a motivation.
Yep.
Like I look at kids and I tell them, so you'll like this. So I just started working with 2 kids. I kind of don't coach. I kind of do anymore.
Yeah.
But they've asked me, both of these 2 boys, for different reasons, have not lived up to their full potential as wrestlers, and they've asked me to coach them. And that's a big deal because I'm kind of out of the game. I don't coach in systems anymore.
Right.
I have my own club.
Right.
And they came to me. These are young dudes, 17, 16 years old, and they came to me with humility and asked me if I would help them get better. And so it gives me a chance to get back with young guys again because it's about you're with them, you learn. I'm not like, I don't see them every day like you do. Okay, so you know more than I do about what they're dealing with. I don't.
Yeah.
But this gives us that opportunity to go back and get a kid that isn't getting something. And what my point is this, is that you have to have expectation for them and watch. If you're consistent, if you're stable and you're disciplined about your expectation level to a child as an adult, they will match that expectation.
Yeah, they will.
If we don't have expectation for them, and I'll go macro here, if we don't have expectation for them as a country, then how the hell do we expect them to have expectation for themselves?
I agree.
We cannot.
I agree.
And that quite literally is our job, I would say, as educators and as parents. So we've got a little bit here. So this is what I was going to do. Good thing, though, good news for putting that on the plate because I wasn't aware of that law potentially being. I'm for it if it means kids get to start later in the day, and whether we like it or not, I mean, there's something to be said for, get them up at the crack of dawn. Hey, I get that part too. And I was in the Army. I had to wake up at 5, and I was 18 years old, and I had to learn, right? Okay, but this isn't the Army. This is structured system. It's K through 12 education. I do believe that their biomechanical clocks and their body operate better, more efficiently a little bit further into the day as opposed to 7 something in the morning like my daughter's doing. So thank you for that. That was good. That's why you're here. Education Rambo, keeping me abreast, baby, keeping me abreast. So here's what I wanted to do. So we talked about the periods, right? Start times, and then here's the period.
Right.
So my dream high school is 6 periods. I think I lean that way. I was talking about 7, but I can be okay with the 0 and the 7 period.
Yeah,
those being the electives.
I like the 6 because just the evenness of it.
There's a breakup.
It's easy to break up with breaks and lunch
and
all
instruction
that.
time
And instruction. Yeah.
time.
So I like.
So
I
I'm gonna
like
go.
the
I'm gonna
6.
go with the 6.
Okay, I'm with you.
I don't want to go lower than that. Obviously, not 5.
No.
But I could go 7. But if I had to pick, I'd go 6. So here's why.
Yep.
So we go 6, and so let's do this. Core courses.
Yep.
Social sciences,
Okay.
language arts,
Yep.
mathematics, and science. Ladies and gentlemen in America, that's what you know is our core curriculum, core courses for the average education in America. Those 4. So this is what I'm going to do. Those are mandatory. I actually think you should have 4 years of those. There's some schools that only do 3, depending. I do believe it should be 4. Because we've lost it in America. I think we need to kind of bring it back that way. So 4 core courses.
Okay.
Because I will say this, the average American citizen today does not understand its history and doesn't understand citizenry and being a civilian in this country. And that's because we've lost history. I'll say it. You're a math guy. You can argue the things we've lost in math, and I won't disagree with you. Okay, but my wheelhouse is social sciences and history. If we understood the concept and rationale, the intent of the framers in forming this Constitution in this country, we wouldn't have half as many problems because, and watch this, I'm going to do it, I'm going to get in trouble. The average citizen, whether he's 20 or 50, would be able to call out bullshit in this country and would not accept poor behavior on the part of politicians because we would know better. Because we'd have a rubric that goes back 240 years and say, no, that's been tried before. No, not acceptable. I'll vote your ass out. You're done, right? So that's where I go with that. But so 4 periods, language arts, mathematics, social science, and science. So those 4.
Right.
So this is what I'm going to do to you.
Yeah.
Because I do believe in this, and people don't normally get this about me. You kind of do because you know my kids. I think it would be mandatory in my school that 5th and 6th period would be occupied by, and it doesn't have to be 4 years though. It doesn't have to be 2 or 3 years. But music, auditory, sensory. It's sensory. You want to build a mind? You want to build a brain, ladies and gentlemen? Occupy and use all of your brain, including all of your senses. Tactile, auditory, visual. So I would believe in absolutely that you'd have to have music as a component. Right. Not because you're going to be the next rock star, but because music is another language. Music is another mode of thought. Music is a processing and organizing art.
Okay.
It helps with math. I think you know that.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
It definitely
Yeah.
helps with math. So it has a lot of additional. So you'd have to have music.
Yeah.
If not for 4, then at least 2 or 3 years. At
Okay.
least that could be my 5th or 6th period.
Yeah.
And then the other period would be visual arts, and they could be performing,
Yeah.
drama, creation in terms of brush. You have all these abilities now in digital and computer imagery to be an artist online. There's all of this, and that all matters in terms of building the mind.
Yeah.
So those would be my 2 additional courses. Music, because you know where my son went, the high school he was at, he had to have 4 years of mandatory music.
Right.
And it definitely benefited. Okay, so I would add not just the auditory, the music, but I would add visual art as well.
Okay,
Because
yeah.
I believe in a tactile function. They wouldn't have to be 4 years of those 2 additional periods. 2 or 3 years apiece, and then you could tinker with those other 2 or 3 periods on the back end, but then you still have the 0 periods.
Right.
And maybe you can take some other electives that are more specific to a school you want to get into, or maybe you want to take shop.
Yeah.
Maybe you're going to be a machinist. So people are like, when I first started telling people, and you've really thought this out. Yes.
Yeah.
Because we're in education,
Yeah.
and I think I've told you this. I look at all the things that are done wrong, just don't do those.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do the opposite, right?
Right, right.
And it sounds easy, but I think you kind of get the intent. Is there another subject that you would want to make mandatory? Notice how I left out PE.
Yeah, I know. We can talk about PE. We've got to get some type of civics in there.
Well, that's social sciences, though.
Well, currently the curriculum. Okay.
Well, let's break that down. Okay,
Yeah.
so what do you
Yeah.
get for social science? Because now you're talking my language now.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know about if you remember, but okay, so when you first went to Central,
Yeah.
I don't know if there was still left over, but I had to have geography,
You're right. Modern
physical.
modern world history.
Okay, geography. Then I had history, world history.
World history.
Then I had U.S.
U.S. history.
And then your senior year, you have
Government and economics.
government and econ.
Right.
So those are 4
Right,
4
right.
years of work.
Yeah.
So there's no more geography
They still have it. Yeah.
as a freshman.
Yeah.
We didn't do that, or did we?
Yeah. We still have that. So we
Well,
have.
help me out. You show me.
So we have 5, and how, you have your geography, you have your world.
Which I think is mandatory.
I think so.
I think my point is, let me
yeah.
hold you there for a second. I've seen schools that are removing geography, and what they're doing is they're saying that the history teacher needs to include it within the
Yeah,
curriculum.
no,
That's not good.
No,
That's
no,
not.
no,
Because it is
no.
an entirely different mode of thought.
Right.
Kids cannot place themselves on a map or a globe.
Yeah.
And that's because when you begin to take away the emphasis on the importance of geography, you will lose it.
Yeah.
Because not all history teachers will teach it and make it a full-fledged subject
Yeah.
within the body of the U.S. because of their what am I thinking? State standards. They don't have the time to do that.
Yeah.
So I don't think you lose geography. So
No,
continue.
and I like the 5, but I think that government and economics needs to go to a year instead of a year each, because basically how they have it,
I thought it was a semester each.
it's a year. It's 10
For
credit.
Central.
Yeah. Now there's a lot, like when I went to school, I went to
How did you do it? Because I did a semester econ, a semester.
Yeah, we did that. Yeah, but
Government.
they changed that a while ago. They changed
Okay.
that back in 98, 99, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's 5. So it's basically 50 units, because each class is 10 units. And so I would like to go back to government economics as a semester each. And you do your geography, your world history, and your U.S. history. But within each one of those strands, civics, how to be...
What do you mean by strands?
World geography, there's got to be a civics component.
A
There's
component within geography.
within all your social studies.
So I think I know where you're going.
If we can't say that, because we've talked about this before, where our students need civics daily.
Reinforced.
Reinforced. They
That's dirty. You're making it hard for me to say no to that.
Well, I know. See,
because it's reinforcement.
I'm pulling on your heartstrings.
Oh,
right
it is,
there,
and,
you know?
and that's a dirty move, but a damn good one.
Yeah,
I'll
you
give
know,
you that.
so,
But
hey.
I absolutely
Yeah.
agree that if it's not reinforced on a consistent basis,
Yeah.
then the potential is to lose it. We've lost civics.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think anybody will disagree. A lot of
Yeah,
my audience in SuperMex Nation
Yeah.
decry the fact that we've lost civics,
Yeah.
not just as a subject,
Right.
but as a concept in our society.
Yeah, and I don't think it needs. If it's not a standalone, then I think it needs to be interwoven in those 5 areas. Actually 4 classes. Government economics count as one class.
Would you, let me ask you this, would you be okay with, and I'm just spitballing here, but I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, you've placed that on my plate, now I have to consider that a little bit more. I would almost want, and I'll tell you why, because it's like, I'm thinking of terms of curriculum and how I operate as a teacher. If I'm teaching government, I want to be teaching a solid component of civics with, not just embedded as part of the strand, right? But as, I would make government and civics unanimously, the same.
Yeah.
They would be one, they would be the same thing, because government by itself, if you don't have civics, then it's not good government.
Well, that's, when I was a senior and I had government economics, it was, that civics was woven into that whole class.
I don't think teachers teach that way anymore. That's the problem. And I'll probably have some that disagree with me. It'll be some, but it won't be all of them, because there are a lot of teachers that don't teach like that anymore.
Yeah.
I know I did, because I made an effort, because I didn't like the fact that, I had a kid and he said, oh, I don't like them because they're Republicans. Oh, I don't like them because they're Democrats. That's not civic.
No.
That's not civic.
Right.
That's not civic-minded.
Right.
Because the intent is for the entire. So I'm kind of with you there. Would you make that, so you're saying maybe your junior, senior year, that would be a 5th and a 6th, or one of those periods?
Yeah, I just think that, you go geography freshman, world history sophomore, U.S. history junior, and senior you take government economics, but it's not 2 separate classes. It's 1 semester's government, 1 semester's economics. And so you have basically your 4 right there.
Okay.
And then you have the civics component interwoven within all of those
I think
classes.
that's, I mean, to be honest with you, and this is like a little pushback, but I think that's easy in terms of, I don't think anybody will disagree with that.
Yeah.
Because we know we've lost civics.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if, like, the pushback being back to you is maybe we need to have, like, it needs to have more dedicated time as a specific. That's what I'm saying. So if I don't 100%
but
agree.
if you go see, I'm thinking that as well. But here's my issue. If we say, okay, if that's a standalone, then when do those?
Well, I meant standalone with government.
Oh, okay, I got.
And I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
Because the average
Yeah,
politician
I get you
isn't
now.
civic-minded.
Yeah.
We make that like the core of the government component.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? I'm doing some stuff here.
Yeah.
The civics component falls within this larger umbrella, but is the base upon which government exists.
Yeah, I
Does
get
that make sense?
Yeah, I understand that. I just, for me,
Man, that's pretty good. I think civics is the base upon which government should exist.
talking like an educator.
I'm talking like a not good politician, right?
But I get you, and I'm with you on that. And I think yes to that, but also too, I think they need to have it freshman.
I'm not disagreeing with
yeah,
that.
they need.
I'm not
needs to be-
disagreeing.
It needs to cycle all,
and it needs to
through.
be, a concerted effort on the part of like everybody involved.
Yes.
From the teacher to the admin.
Yes.
So I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
agreeing with
yeah.
that it should be like an underlying base. It should be just there, right?
Right.
But I do believe that once they get to 17, 18 years old and say they're a senior
Yeah.
and they're taking government,
Yeah.
I think government should be from the perspective of civic-minded.
I agree.
And maybe make that a little bit, maybe flesh it out. Like, so you have
Yeah.
these underlying things for your freshman, sophomore, junior year. Then you get to your senior year, you got to take government.
Yep.
And then there's this overemphasis on being civic-minded and placing your country
I agree.
before party or priority.
Right, because they're seniors and they're getting ready to vote or they're at voting age. Yeah, I agree with you.
Exactly.
So I think both of them needs to. I think we need to hit civics hardcore from ninth grade.
It is lost, man.
Ninth
It is lost.
grade and hit it really hard as a senior. I'm with you on that.
It is lost.
Yeah.
We'll have to end there because we're at the end of our time, and we do have to hit our got to hit our tag that track.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But listen, as usual, thank you guys.
Yes.
So we do have our. Where are they?
You want to turn your speaker
We
on
had
and
a
see
bit of an
maybe if I
issue.
can,
Yeah, we had a bit of an issue. So I'll see how we can do this.
see if I can hook into your speaker here.
I'm on. I may not be able to do the playlist, but I do have your list.
Okay.
Let me see if I forget. Write your list there.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to pull them up because I think I did. Like I said, I tried to do the playlist, and then I had issue with pulling the playlist up. Oh, there are 5 songs here.
I don't know. I'm not connecting to your thing there, so.
No. All right. So I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 3 of yours right now.
Okay.
All right. So let's do this. Pull up artist. No, not that one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. So I'm going to give you mine? I think I've got yours.
Okay. All right.
Well, here's the thing. It didn't, for whatever reason, it did not like save into the playlist.
Oh, okay.
That I have. So what we do, guys, is I have, Tim and I both have Amazon Prime. And so we create our playlists, and we put them into the phone, and then I come and I play them for you, right?
Yep.
So, but I had an issue. I think maybe I have too many damn playlists, because every Friday I create another list. I think I have like 20 or 30 playlists.
Well,
they might be blocking me or
right
something.
All right.
This was one, I'm pretty sure. All right, here we go. Here's one.
Yes.
Give too much.
Telling you.
That dude was a drum playing fiend.
He was.
I think he had like, Hit Parader or one of the magazines had him like, he was the best drummer every year for like a decade or something like it, something crazy.
Yeah.
But he was that good.
Yeah.
Okay, there's one.
That's one.
There's another right there, pretty sure. Okay.
That's that one.
The other. Okay,
good.
Got that. That's
Okay.
2.
Good.
You get that other one you got there.
Okay.
Come on. May not have that one. Was that off that first one? Yeah, there it is.
There we go.
And people are like, what is that? You should know. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. Did you see the movie they just put out on Netflix?
No.
You got to watch it. You know why they came up with this?
Why?
Because my son and his crew, just they saw the movie on Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's like another generation. They're listening.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was kind of cool.
Yep.
Okay, so that's 3.
Yep.
Let's pull up this other. Is that all off that one?
You got these 2 left right here.
See, I don't know why it's not pulling that one up. That one's not popping up on here.
That one's already done.
Oh, there we go.
We
did that.
Yeah, we did that one.
My bad.
So now it's this one right here.
Go back. It's not there.
I can play it on here.
If I can't pull it up now, you just run it.
Okay.
Oh, wait, here we go. I think I might have it. Yep, got it.
Okay. All right, and this is the last one right there.
Plenty of intro with these, huh?
They're all like that. That's kind of their.
That was their music.
Thing. That was their thing.
Before I get up there and start doing all kinds of crazy stuff on the mic.
Yeah.
Okay, and your last one.
Yep. There you go.
Not everybody's gonna get that one unless you're a true fan.
These are old school ones.
Okay, so because you went that road, those are a little earlier.
Yeah.
I can listen to all those anyway.
Yeah.
I can listen to those anyway.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know that about me, but in terms of a rock band, this is my all-time favorite rock band.
Yeah. I did not know that.
And I've got some reasons for it, but you would not guess it because I'm SuperMex and I grew up on oldies and other things, but there's some very specific rationale. It had to do when I was in the Army, and my whole world changed, my whole life changed, my musical outlook changed, everything changed.
Yeah.
And it opened me up to a wide range and variety of everything.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, this particular group and their lyrics and some of the things that they were saying at that time really like recycled everything that I had thought about the way I was growing up.
Right.
And so that's my all-time group, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And it's not that they're the best or they're this or that, but they're the most significant to me.
Yeah.
And that's why, and so I'm kind of he's not watching tonight, but my son's all over it too. And his group, they're in their early 20s.
Yeah.
And this is from 20 years ago. These guys in their early 20s, and they're all over this stuff.
Yeah.
And they're like, they live like that. They did those things. I want to do that. Because for every young guy, right? You want to live like that, do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so here are mine. And so I did go, like I said, a different route.
Okay.
Because you went a little earlier, I went a little later at the tail end for them.
Yeah.
And I really love this song.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for good bass, good rhythm section in a rock group. Love rhythm section.
Yeah.
Not just a good guy on guitar. All right, that's plenty there. I really love that song.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay, so let's do this. No, not that one. That one's too easy. That might have just gave the whole thing away. That probably just gave everything away right there. Oh, man. Yeah, that one's too easy. There's two songs that are just like immediately identifiable for like the populace.
Yeah.
There's a couple songs that if you just hear them, you know exactly what it is.
Yep.
The notes, the first opening notes, you'll get it immediately. All right, so let's see, I'm going to pull these up. They're a little different, but some, they mattered for me.
Yeah.
All right, see if you get this one.
Uh-oh. It blanked out.
I thought I was talking. The lyric.
Yeah.
All right, that's good.
There we go.
Here's number 3 for me.
Yep.
All right, that's 3.
See, kind of where you're going is where I kind of fell off the wagon with them, just because I don't know, they were getting a little commercialized.
Well, they got more mainstream. No
a
question.
little mainstream, and
they got way more mainstream.
A lot of the stuff that I like listening to is like not mainstream, and when people meet me and stuff, they have no clue about.
I don't know if you knew this. So they got a producer.
Yeah.
The producer is the one that took that particular album, and then the ones after, like that's when they got massive, right?
Yeah.
Into the 90s, with Metallica, by the way, because Sandman, that album.
Well, Metallica did the exact same way.
They got the same producer.
Yeah.
They had the same producer.
I did not know that.
Oh yeah, they had the same producer, and both of those albums went.
Yep.
They went mainstream and global.
Yeah.
They were already good to begin with, by the way.
Yeah.
As an aside, when I was in Germany, Monsters of Rock, them, Metallica, Queensryche, AC/DC, and Black Crowes.
Wow.
That was a girl, yeah.
Wow.
That was something.
Yeah.
That was a great one. Okay, so that's my 3.
That's 3.
This one, because it is generally considered one of, if not the all-time stripper song.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, it did it to me again.
Sorry, I don't know that one.
Yeah, sorry. That's funny.
That's funny. Oh, man.
Yeah.
That one
right.
should be
Yeah.
should be easy enough.
Take
Okay,
it
and
away.
so last one, it doesn't have it on this list. I did that one. And some of these, like, some people won't get these, but, you know, some of them are just obvious. And this one, it was at this time. Now, okay, so this is later, obviously, when they were far more mainstream, but it is about lyric for me, too, you know. And so I'm having that discussion with my son now. He's a musician, and he's going to sing. But he's writing a lot right now. And I'm trying to get him to understand, I said, just write.
Yeah.
Don't construct anything in terms of an instrument,
Right.
you know, instrumental.
That will come later. Yeah.
Don't worry about that now. Craft your story. Craft the message you want to get across, and make it meaningful for the people that are listening to you, so that you get your message across in this X amount of words or X amount of lines, and that it stays with them and has meaning and impact.
Yeah.
And then you construct, you know, the other components. And he has a young friend who's like, he's a musical prodigy genius on the instrumentation aspect side of it. Music theory concept, he's all over it.
Yeah.
And they're going to be a nice little combination, right? But he's the singer, the songwriter, and he's constructing the story that he wants to tell.
Right.
This one, even though they were, again, at the band, you're absolutely right, and I'll agree with you. They were far more mainstream, if not commercial, on the back end. But this one just, like, floored me. And I played this, I listened to this like almost entirely on the flight back from Germany as I was coming home, when I was out of the Army, when I had just left the Army. And I played the hell out of this song, and it's about getting back to my mom, you know. And so it has, you know, some serious significance.
Sure.
And it's just a hell of a tune. It's a hell of a constructed lyric and song, because as soon as you hear the opening notes, even if you're not, you know, a diehard fan of this particular group, and you're just mainstream, you hear the notes and you probably know or get to it somehow. So this is my last one for you guys tonight, and you can listen on your way home in the weekend, into the weekend.
Yep.
Just good piano.
Yeah.
You know I'm a dreamer, but my heart's a gold.
Love that.
I had a runaway high, so I wouldn't come home low.
So just those open lines, that's like,
Yeah.
that lyric spoke to me. That lyric was me. That's what I felt at the time. Still do. Just takes me back immediately, and played the hell out of it on the flight home. That's all I played, just the entire way home. So anyway, so if you guys haven't got it by now, so we played a set of Motley Crue, and there is a new, like I said, they just did a movie. If you're not a Crue guy or Crue head, you know, then whatever. But they just released a movie on Netflix, kind of chronicling their rise and, you know, to prominence as a band, as a rock band, hair band in the 80s into the early 90s. And maybe some of you guys don't get that, but, you know, Motley Crue is my all-time favorite rock band. People are going to like, what
They're
did he
scratching their heads right now.
SuperMex, what?
Yeah.
So yeah, I have, listen to the lyrics, especially if you're a young 18, 19-year-old young man in other parts of the world, and it's about going out and living the life, partying, having a good time, you know, hooking up with ladies and living. I mean, that's what it
Living,
was,
yeah.
right? And this band was about as good as it gets when it comes to that lifestyle.
Oh, yeah.
So their language spoke to me at that time.
Yeah.
And yes, I wasn't 6'1" with blonde hair or light skin, but music in my world is cross-cultural, and it's cross-ethnic.
Yep, true.
Good quality music, like you guys tonight as we wrap up our show. Good quality intellect, good quality art, good quality thought. Ladies and gentlemen, ditch the Republican and Democrat thing for the night into the weekend, and you know what I'm talking about. Don't lose sleep over the Mueller report, whether you're a Democrat or Republican. Live your damn life. Enjoy. Listen to some good music. Spend time with your family. I say it all the time. Some of you guys get tired of it, but you know what it is, Timbo? It's reinforcement, right?
I agree.
It is reinforcement.
Yeah.
I have to tell you that over and over again because some of you need to hear it over and over again. Live your life, do your thing, and you'll probably make better decisions on a political level anyway.
Yep, agree.
So that's my group for the night. As usual, have fun with my partner Swainbo. If you guys go back and listen, there are some seriously good kernels of information that he and I are laying out for you. If you're an educator, if you're an administrator in education, or if you're just a parent, or if you're just a student, these are the things that should be taking place. These are the items that you can make yourself better at as a parent or a student. It's all right there. Okay, and we're educating you on it, giving you good information, arming yourself with that information, going forward and making good decisions for living your life. That's SuperMex Nation for the night and for the weekend. You guys enjoy. I'll be back on Monday with Fresno State Wrestling. Looking forward to that. Live it up. SuperMex Nation is out.